misled and they're being misdirected, and it's really affecting people's lives. I appreciate your attendance because it gives me an opportunity to share with people the truth about what's really going on with us as a people. And, we all know it, but, sometimes we just need that.
Misled and they're being
we need that
misdirected.
encouragement. That's what we need. We need encouragement along the way. All right. Let's turn to these. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Toda Rabba Yahweh. Thank you, Yahweh, for this day, this Yom Dihaj Shilishi. Hallelujah, Yahweh. We thank you, Yahweh, Toda Rabba, for food, clothing, and shelter. Thank you, Yahweh, for looking out for us. Thank you, Yahweh, for being a forgiving Elohim. Hallelujah, Yahweh. Thank you for remembering our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Hallelujah, Yahweh. Thank you for blessing our mothers, Sarah, and Leah, and Raquel. Hallelujah, Yahweh. Toda Rabba, Yahweh. Toda Rabba, Yahweh. Toda Rabba. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise be to the living Elohim that you and I serve, who's been he's been kind. He's been very, very kind to us. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yeah, more than kind.
Would you agree that he's been merciful?
Oh, yes.
He's he's delightful, isn't he? Hey, tonight what we're going to do is I'm going to try to get through chapter number 7, okay? And how I want to do it is I want us to share our ideas, because I want us to discuss, some of the things that we're talking about. So when we get to Shabbat, we have a more clear understanding, and then we'll be a little bit more open to, the different things. And if we don't have discussions and it's just a monologue, I don't believe that we can really learn that way. I think we learn better when we interact with one another and we tell each other about ideas and say different experiences that we've had, and how we can, just share what Yah has been saying to us through what we've been reading. And I think it would be an encouragement for others too, where they can kind of feel a little bit more comfortable in coming to the class and saying, hey, you know what? This is a place where I should be open, because I don't have this opportunity to talk at work. I don't have this opportunity to talk with other people in my family. I don't really have an opportunity to talk to anybody about this because they're just not understanding it. They don't get it. And then also too, it help you. It would literally help you to be able to open up. And then, if you did want to have that discussion with someone, you could, you can really open it up to them and share it in a way that's non-religious, and not non-combative. You can just tell them the way it is, as a matter of fact. Okay. So tonight we're going to look at chapter number 7. We're going to try to get through it. And it begins in verse number 12. Okay. It begins in verse number 12, which says, because you are listening to these mishpatim, these kukim, okay, and you're obeying them, Yahweh your Elohim will keep with you the covenant, okay, and the mercy that he swore to your ancestors. Okay, that word because in Hebrew is called a cave. And I'm going to show that to you right quick. Okay, verse number 7, 12. So the reason why this Torah portion is called a cave is because that is in the first sentence of our Torah portion. That's why the Torah portions are named after a word that's in that first line. Okay. Of the Torah portion. And again, it stopped off at a nice place, because this verse number 11 ends with what they call a putuka. I wonder if you can see that right quick. Can you guys see my screen, by the way?
No.
Oh, okay. So let me share that. That would be nice, right? You guys don't need to look at me. Why did anybody tell me that? All right, so in the Hebrew scrolls, they have this in particular letter right here, okay, that tells us that this is the end of everything above. Okay, so when Moshe was talking, this means it's the end of this conversation up here. Okay, that's over. This letter right here is a letter pay. Okay, and pay means what? Somebody tell me.
Mouth.
It's a mouth. Okay, perfect. And so what's the function of the mouth? How does the mouth function?
It's to speak,
Yeah, it speaks, but also to opens, okay,
blow.
and then it closes. Okay.
Mhm.
So what's going on here in the Hebrew scrolls, if you see this letter right here, okay, this pay right here, it means that something is closed, his mouth is closed, and now he's going to reopen it. He's going to open his mouth. And now, since he's taken like a somewhat of a pause, okay, not a continuation. Okay, so now he's talking about something else, a whole nother conversation. And that's what that letter means. And so right now, everything that we're going to read about is on the same day, matter of fact. Okay, I want to bring that to your attention. The book of Devarim, okay, Moshe is talking to the sons, the daughters, and everybody of Israel on one day. Everything. Chapter 1 all the way to chapter number 34 is one day. He's giving out all the Torah. He's expounding upon it. He's telling them their history because they're on their way to go in and take possession of the land. Okay. So he's given them a forecast of what they need to be, understood about what their experiences were, but also too what they're about to be faced with. Okay. So it says, and it came to pass. So now he's changing the subject and he says, because, and it's right here. Okay. An ayin, a kaf, and a bet. Okay. If you put a yod right here, it's the name Yaakov. Okay. Because he is the heel of something. It's because of him. This word because means the heel, like the heel of your foot. So it's literally like the end of something. Okay. Or what you would say, the result of something, the results, or the outcome of something. All right. So he's using that word, which is interesting. Okay. So he's saying, and it also can be recognized as a consequence of something. Okay. So it will come to pass. It will perfect come to pass, or because you listened. Okay. The Shema is right in here. Okay. You listen to the Hamishpatim, and that's an arrow directly pointing to this. And, okay, the Ha'ele, these, and Ushamartim, I need you to, Ushamar means I need you to guard. It comes from our word shamar. I need you to guard. Not only listen, a lot of people do a lot of listening, but they don't not understand what it means to guard, okay? So I'm about to leave the Hebrew right quick and go back to the English, so for the sake of time, okay? So because means, again, to listen, or the result of listening. As a result of listening to these mishpatim, okay, the rulings on how you're supposed to operate when you get into this land, and you're guarding them and you're doing them. 3 phases: listening, okay, keeping, which is literally guarding, and number 3, obeying, which is doing. Those are the elements of what Yah is interested in his people to understand, okay? These 3 things. If you don't do these 3 things, then if you're missing any of them, then you're not necessarily following what Yah says. You're not, okay? But if you do these things, the result will be that Elohim will keep, okay, covenant with you, okay? But we know that this right here may be something in question, because it's predicated upon Yah keeping a covenant with us if we do this. And that's not what it's saying here, okay? In English, we're being kind of deceived. They are putting in their culture where you and I will understand it and feel comfortable with what he's saying, okay? I want to say that again. In English, they put it in words that makes you and I feel more comfortable, okay? They say stuff to make you and I feel more comfortable, right? Which can be detrimental to us because we don't fully understand what Yah is saying. I do apologize, you guys, for this internet keep jumping the way that it is. It keeps moving. The screen keeps moving. And so it says that Yah will keep, okay? In the Hebrew language, damn it, if this thing doesn't stop, so excuse my French, I'm just irritated. Let me see the mercy. Okay. In the English, it says he will keep. Right? It says he will. That's future tense. Okay. Those of you who've been in my class, you know, you tell me this is the word that is saying that he will keep, that will keep. What's the problem with this? I'm going to blow it up a little bit bigger for you so you can see it. What's the problem with this word in verse number 13? I mean, verse number 12. Was shamar. What's the problem? What do you see? Because they said will. Will means future, future tense. Don't be shy. It's right here. Perfect. In the Hebrew culture, okay? Yes, in the Hebrew culture, you need 3 letters that's by themselves without a conjunction to tell you that something's either in the past, present, or future. Okay, so the 3 letters by themselves tell you that it's in a past tense. Okay, and this is important for us to understand, because if you don't understand the way things are spoken or how they're written, you can have a problem. Okay, because you're going to start thinking that this is something he will do, and it's something that he said that he has already done. Yah has already kept the covenant that he made with our fathers by going to get Yisrael from Mitzrayim. This is not contingent upon, this is where the Christians got it wrong. And this is something that needs to be corrected. That they're thinking that it was predicated, or it's based upon Yisrael doing what he said in order for him to keep the covenant that he made with us. Yah has not broken his covenant in spite of us breaking the covenant. See, but the idea from the English version is he will, if you do this, then he'll do this, he'll keep it. That's not true. Yah has already kept it. Yah has kept the covenant. Okay. And you can see it right here. I'm not going to expand it because it keeps moving. Washamar, perfect. It's conjugated perfect. Yahweh, he's the one who has perfectly kept this, guarded the covenant. Yah has guarded the covenant that he made. And he not only promised a covenant with us through our fathers, but he also told our fathers that he would be merciful. He would show mercy that he swore to our fathers. It says that he will love you. That's not correct. It's not correct. It's not a future tense here. It is, this will is wrong. He perfectly has loved Israel. This changes everything. The relationship is that Yah has an eternal love for us. And I found that today in 1 Kings. Somebody remind me that we go there after we get through this. There's an eternal love that Yah has for us. His love for us has never stopped. Even while you and I are in exile, Yah still loves us. Even while they were still doing what they were doing, Yah still loved them. He still loved Dawid when Dawid committed adultery and he killed an innocent man. He loved him. You understand? Yah loves us. He even says it in the book of Malachi that I love you. And we asked the question, well, when do you love us? He said, is not Esau Jacob's brother? I've loved you before I even formed you in the womb. I know who you are. And I made a covenant with your fathers that I would be your Elohim. Perfectly love you. You understand? Yes, it would bring more joy to Yah if you and I were to, fall in line. Absolutely. When your children act a fool, it doesn't mean that you don't love them. You love them. I'm pretty sure after this wife of Yah's who've committed adultery on him several times, he still loves her. Still. He's mad. Yes, he's mad, but he loves her. And he loves you and I. And we've been told that he doesn't love us until somebody comes and said, oh, he's going to die for you. So now that proves his love. Yah has been proving his love to us before we even born. And he's still proving his love today. 13 says, and he will. That's a lie. He has. Look at the next word. And bless you. He's already blessed them. He's already blessed them. Chapter number 2 says, before you even go into this land, I'm going to put the fear of me on you, so all the peoples will be afraid of you. I've already blessed Israel. I blessed them when they were out in the wilderness. I blessed them. And I fed them, and I took care of them, and I increased their numbers. I have never abandoned you. I perfectly multiplied you. The next word. And it says again, and he will bless. No, he's already blessed. You see? So this is important for us to understand. When you're reading English, they're going to lie to you. They're going to throw your mind in a whole nother direction. He will love you and bless you, increase your numbers. He will also bless the fruit of your body. No, it's not contingent upon that. He's already done those things for them. It's already built inside of them. He's bringing them to a land where there's grain, wine, olive oil, young cattle, everything. Remember we read, I think about a week or two ago, he says, when you were in the wilderness, you lacked nothing. You weren't doing without when you were in the wilderness. He would put some eagerness into your soul and make you hungry a day or so, you know what I mean? So you could call out to him. He'd make you thirsty. So you and I could call out. But he answered us. When we asked for water, he gave it to us. When we asked for food, he provided it. What is he trying to tell us? Yah made a promise to our fathers about land, L-A-N-D. There's nothing else that you and I should be looking forward to in terms of something physical and all that which appertaineth into that land. This has not been something that the New Testament has taken and said, we need to bring this point out. We need to talk about. Nobody, not one disciple, not one apostle, not one seer, not one so-called prophetess, nobody over there ever said one mumbling word about the land that was promised to our ancestors. The whole Torah is talking about this relationship that Yah has with a family that he called out of all the families on the face of the earth. And you and I are these descendants of these people. He tells us that you will be blessed more. You are blessed more than any other people. There will not be a sterile male or female among you, and same with your livestock. This is indicative of what goes with the land. Yahweh increases our numbers when we're in the right environment. He'd increase the numbers of the cattle and the livestock. Well, we've been told that the blessings that you and I have now are the blessings from Yah, and they're not. They're not. Everything you have has been by the work of your own hand. That's your thing that you gave to yourself. You're the one who got up and went to work and got the job. You're the one who went to go get the education. So all of a sudden now he's blessed me. Because these Christians tell you that you're blessed by the living Elohim. No, I'm not saying that Yah doesn't give out water. I'm not saying that he doesn't give out breath. Those are blessings. But what I'm talking about more specifically is that which appertains to the land. That's the focus. We shouldn't get caught up in these other things. We're talking about the land that was sworn to our fathers. That has been the narrative from the beginning. 15 says Yahweh will remove all illnesses from you. When you're in the land. He already did it when they were out in the wilderness. I'm going to take those diseases off you. I will not afflict you with those things. Okay? So there were certain diseases that Egypt had that they said, I'm taking that off you. Because if you're going to be with me, you have to be a certain type of people. You can't bear illnesses and rashes, okay, and fevers and all this kind of stuff when you're in my presence. It doesn't mean that I'm with you. You see, they knew these diseases. He said, instead, I'm going to lay them all those who hate you. I'm going to give it to the people that are your enemies. You are to devour. By the way, he said, ain't gonna be a sterile male or female among you. I did a little study today. And guess what I found? I found something that was really interesting. I found that in the United States of America, they were forcing minorities and those with disabilities in the last 21st century to get sterilization. Sterilizing them. They put out brochures and they had a campaign. Okay. And the ones that they were going after, which blew my mind, were the Black woman. They went after the Black woman. Looking at this chart right quick, look at this. They did a few white men, a little bit, you know. Then they did the Black man right here in the green. They weren't tripping with him. The white woman, they did her. But look at the difference between the white woman and the Black woman. You see this chart? Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And they did this for a long time. They did it all the way into 1960 something. It's not that long ago. And that's just in North Carolina. There's a whole bunch of other states where they were doing this. They were sterilizing our women and making up excuses saying that you weren't smart enough and that you lacked the ability to train your children and that there was something wrong with you. You didn't have the good sense of, you know, being able to teach. You couldn't handle money. You weren't responsible. And thought that being a parent was too much because you were feeble-minded. You weren't smart enough to do it. When I saw this, it broke my heart that Yah would allow this to happen to us, you know, and to our people and to our brothers and to our sisters. It was very painful when I read this article and found out what was going on in all the different states that they were doing this. And it was okay because they were the ones who were determining who was fit in order to be a parent and who was able to, you know, create a family. So they had a whole program, a eugenic sterilization program, and it was a law. This was their laws. This is how they worked. This is how they operate. So you got to understand where you're at. You got to take charge of your life. Okay. This is what it was. All right. And of course, now, you know, who knows what those laws are? We don't know what they are. We're not lawyers, right? So we don't know. But I just thought that'd be something to point out to you. Yah says in 16 that he wanted those people, when they get there, I need you to devour every single person. That's a command. See, those are a command nobody wants to talk about. I need you to devour the peoples that Yahweh Elohim hands over to you, to show them no pity. And do not serve their gods because they will become a trap for you. We are a different people. We're a special, set apart, kadosh people unto Yahweh. I thought, well, surely, you know, when he did this to them and he told them to go do this, it had to be for a reason. He said, show them no pity. And do not serve their gods. What happens to us is that you and I become friends with those who hate the Creator. And we decide that our friendship is more important than our duty and our responsibility. Yah's letting us know that if you're around certain people, even if you marry somebody that you're not supposed to marry, they're going to turn you away from the Creator. He knows how these people are. You understand? And he says, if you think to yourselves that these nations outnumber us, and he talks about them being afraid. And he says, look, don't be afraid of them. Remember what Yah did to Pharaoh in Egypt. That's the part of the story that you and I need to always remember. When we hear about what Yahweh has done to Pharaoh and all Mitzrayim, we need to understand what Yahweh intends to do to all of our enemies. As a nation of Israel, you and I have enemies. And we do have other nations that are currently outnumbering us. And you know what? The bottom line is some of them are very fearful. We're afraid of what it is. But we got to remember, Yah is calling us to remember, and don't be afraid, because what Yah is going to do to the people like he did to Pharaoh and his household in all Egypt. Okay. Then he goes on to talk about those things. Let's scroll down. Verse number 19 says, in the great ordeals, he doesn't want us to forget about these things that they saw, which are signs and wonders and strong hand and an outstretched arm. This is the testimony about Yahweh bringing the children of Israel out of Mitzrayim. And that's something that we're missing in our conversation. I think the slavery piece for us is the go-to. When you want to talk to somebody that is part of your family, you're trying to let them know what time it is with, why are you serving the God that you serve? You can easily go and talk about the God that we have been given, that is not the God who took us out of Mitzrayim. Our Elohim is the one who does signs and wonders and with a strong hand. He's the one who's led us through the wilderness for 40 years. He's the one who opened up the Red Sea. He's the one who fed us. He's the one who caused our shoes not to wear off and our clothes to fade away and our feet not to swell. It's been because of him. You see, our existence is based upon Yah, and that's something that he wants us to remember. I have done this for you, and if you don't accept the narrative of Mitzrayim and what he did to Paro, then he's not your God. He's not your Elohim, because the Elohim who did this is the one that keeps mentioning what I did in Mitzrayim. You can look in chapter number 4, it talks about Mitzrayim. You can look in chapter number 5, it talks about Mitzrayim. You can look right there in the covenant itself. In chapter number 5, verse number 2, it says, I am Yahweh who brought you, I'm Yahweh, your Eloheka, who brought you out from the land of Mitzrayim and out of the house of bondage. That's the first word of your covenant. You see? So it's in there. So don't forget. Okay? That's what he's telling us. Don't forget that. Look what Yah did. He said, I'm going to send out hornets to these people. Okay? And the word hornet right there has the same root that the word for Zazarat. Okay. These are called kadzirs or something. Okay. They're called kadzir. Kadzir. And kadzir will be, I said, well, why is the same root for Zazarat? Because when those insects and those hornets hit you, you have all these different dots all over your body, as if you had Zazarat. You got all these red sores. Okay, so Yah is using his army of a hornet to go among them until those who are left, or they're going to hide themselves and they'll perish ahead of you. So Yah sent his own army in there on behalf of Israel prior to them going into the land. Okay, this is not the first time that he mentions it. I'm going to take you to Exodus chapter number 23 to kind of tie all this together. That Yah has already said these things. He already told it what it's going to be. But also he's going to show you by what power he has done this, okay? He says, you are not to be frightened of them, because why? Because, right? So when you read your Torah portion, I want you to remember that you have to always remember the word of the Torah portion. The Torah portion is a cave, which means because. So this is a result of Yahweh being with them, okay, or being with you, okay? Is that when Yah does these things, you don't have to be afraid. So all through your Torah portion, you're going to be looking for this word or something about a consequence as a result of, and those types of things. So you can get more of an understanding about what he's trying to get you to draw your eyes to. So when you see this word for the rest of the week and you're reading, keep your eye open for the word because, okay? In Hebrew, it might be the word a cave, it might be this. But it also might be this word ki. It'll be a kaf and a yod if you're going in Hebrew. It still means the same thing. It means because, as a result of, okay, depending on how the context is being said. But look for this word, because Yahweh Elohim is there with you. When Yahweh is with you, okay, then you don't have to be afraid of your enemies. Right now, you and I are living in fear. And that's the truth. You may not believe it. You might think because you got ADT security on your house, then you're fine. You might think you have, a stable job or stable income. You don't feel like you're afraid. You don't have anything to be afraid of. Those people can come up on us at any time they want. And there will be nothing that you and I can do about it. Okay. But there's not saying that Yah won't be with us, but Yah right now, at this in particular moment, what's happening to us as a people, Yah is not with us, because if he was with us, like I've been saying for months and months and months, that if he was with us, you and I will be able to defeat our enemies. So let's don't spiritualize this. Let's keep it in its proper framework, in its context. He was with them because he drove out people. He was with them because he expelled those nations ahead of them. He was with them. You understand? Because he destroyed them. He was with them because Yah was sending disaster after disaster upon these people until they've been destroyed. You understand? He was with them because he did hand over kings to them. He was with them because he did wipe out their name from under heaven. That's it for you and your family. You're gone. Okay? So get that in your understanding. When we say that Yah is with us, let's don't make him look like a liar, because he's not a liar. You and I are to be the ones who would be lying. Yah is not with us as a nation. Has Yah came to you and I and said, hey, I'm your Elohim? Yes, he has. Are you and I in the presence of Yahweh, living underneath the shadow of Yah's wing? Yes, we are. But is Yah living among us in these nations? No, he's not. So we have to make sure that when we talk, we have to say things in their proper context. Okay. He says you are to burn up completely the carved statues of their gods. Remember, this has been a theme, because he says after you destroy them, I don't want you to have any covenant with them. I don't want you marrying them. I don't want you to do anything, because their gods is what's going to get you. Okay. So after you destroy them, I want you to destroy everything that goes along with them. Okay. That's why I want every male, every female. I want everything except for the cattle and the gold, depending on if I still need to go do that. But primarily, you need to get rid of their statues. One thing that I did want to make sure that I go over tonight, that I don't want you, to lose sight of, is this. Yah says something here in verse 25 and 26 that some of us have not yet done. Okay. Yah says you are to burn up completely the carved statues of their gods. Don't be greedy for the silver or the gold on them. Don't take it with you, or you will be trapped by it. For it is abhorrent to Yahweh, your Elohim, meaning Yah loathes it and he hates it. Okay. What am I saying? You have any jewelry in your house. Okay. Let me finish the sentence though. 26, don't bring something abhorrent into your house, or you will share in the curse that is on it. Okay. Instead, you are to detest it completely, loathe it utterly, for it is set apart for destruction. The reason why this is important for us is to understand that you may have some jewelry, like a cross, and it might be made out of gold or silver. You're holding on to it because you think there's value in it. Okay. And Yah's telling you that you got to get rid of it. I had a gold cross with some sapphires, and I'm talking my own experience. Yes, Koti.
I couldn't help but think about the jewelry the beads that they bring home for Mardi Gras parades, all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's right.
No, it's not, because it has to do with idolatry. It has to do with idol worship. Okay. So I had a cross, and on this cross was it was 14 karat gold, and it had like around 6 sapphire stones. It was beautiful. Okay. When I got into the truth, I had to take that cross. Yes. Okay, Mark. I took that cross and I buried it. Okay. My daughter had it. She found her. She took it. Right. And I said, we got to get rid of it. She took it, and she didn't want to get rid of it. And I said, no. And, I had to put my foot down. I was like, no. So I took the cross. Right. And with the sapphires, it was expensive. And I took it and I buried it. I didn't even go sell it. I don't even want the money from it because it had to do with that idolatry. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm gonna tell you later.
Oh, okay. So what is Yah saying? If you have any figurines in your house, and they don't have to be covered with silver and gold, any type of statue of any type of thing, like a little elf or a Santa Claus or something else, Yah says that you need to get rid of these things because it has a curse on it. And if you take that and you bring it into your house, don't bring it into your house because you're going to share in the curse that's on it. See, it's already been set apart and devoted to destruction. And this ain't just talking about in biblical times, in that time when they did this. Yah's letting Israel know that you can't bring anything into your house that's abhorrent. If you have anything that's left over from your walk as a Christian, including a picture that has something with the New Testament written on it, or a picture that has that you spent $300 to $400 on from your local Bible bookstore, and it had the Jesus Christos and the 12 disciples, on it. You got to get rid of it. You get rid of anything that has anything to do with that other God. Do you understand? That's what it is. Okay. So don't try to, like the Hebraians, they try to use this name, God, and say that this is the same Elohim as ours. But I've already shown you that this guy's name is Theos. That's the name of the Greek's God. And that God he's in the New Testament. And his son is Jesus Christos. You understand? So when they talk about we have the same God, you have to be able to identify and say, no, you don't. My Elohim has a name. And my Elohim has brought me out of the land of Mizraim. You understand? So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Any Christmas ornaments that are in your house, in your storage, take them and get rid of them. Get anything out of your house that has nothing to do with Yah. Get rid of it. Okay? I don't care how much it costs you. I don't care how long it's been a family heirloom. Get rid of it. Exodus. Listen to what the Creator says about what he just told us in chapter number 7. In chapter number 23, in verse number 20, let me see that. All these ads. Chapter number 23. This is what he says, verse number 20. So you can understand when he says, I'm going to sin and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Look who he sins.
Oh.
Put your phone on. Whoever's talking, put your phone
drop
on.
that bike. It's pretty expensive, boy. Don't want to drop that.
Hey, could you put your device on? Put your device on mute. Thank you. Ooh, let me see. Yeah, if you have a question, just unmute yourself or raise your hand. Thank you, because I'm getting a lot of feedback. All right, so back to the study. What we're looking at here is the power of the Yah and who Yah sends. Okay, so this English word in verse number 20 is not the name of what he sent. He didn't send an angel. There is no angel in the Hebrew. Okay, it's either a malach or a karuv or something of that nature. Okay, a serif, but it's not an angel. This is an English word. It's a Greek term that's used so it can make a connection. And this is done intentionally. They put this word here so you can always, when they talk about an angel in other places, you would automatically think that everything's connected. Okay. But if you look in the Greek word writings, you will never find the word malach. You will never find it. They call it angelos. So everything on that side, and this I'm trying to get you away from. I know it's going to be difficult because you know your family and everybody believes in angels. And oh, by the way, There you go. Praise be to the living Elohim. If you have a picture or a word that's talking about an angel, you need to get rid of it. Get rid of it. Okay? If you got a Lucifer doll, get rid of it. There are no angels. They're called malaks. Okay? And a malak is a messenger. All right? And the messengers that came look like men. Okay? These beings that have wings are called seraphim or ophanim, okay, or kavarim. They're not angels. So I know you say, well, you kind of, you're being a little anal about it. I'm just telling you that it's not in the Hebrew language, okay? And of course, I can go there and prove it again. But here's the point. He says, I'm going to send my malak, okay, my messenger ahead of you, to guard you on the way and to bring you into the place I've prepared. That's what I'm going to do, okay? And he says, you need to pay attention to him, listen to what he says, and do not rebel against him, because he will not forgive any wrongdoing of yours, since my name resides in him, okay? But, okay, so here's the thing. Some like to say in the New Testament that this is the Christos, JC, right? But listen here. He says he will not forgive. He's not forgiving any of your wrongdoings. So again, you can see what Yah's character is, because he said, my name resides in him. Okay? If my name is in him, he's not going to forgive. See? So that kind of messes up the story, and it brings a big conflict to those who think that this is talking about this so-called person that they created in the New Testament. It said that he brought out the children of Israel, because that's what they said that he brought the children of Israel. Paul actually says that he brought the children of Israel out of the wilderness and into the land. And that's not true. That's not true. This in particular, Malak right here, there won't be any forgiveness. He won't forgive anything, okay? So it's totally the opposite. He says, but if you listen to what he says and you do everything I tell you, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and a foe to your foes. When my Malak goes ahead of you and brings you to the Imri, the Kiti, the Perizi, the Ka'anini, the Kiwi, and the Yavusi, I will make an end of them. So Yah is using his Malak to go in front of the people, okay? So why is this important for us to understand? Because it proves the point that Yah is the one who goes ahead of us. And Yah himself sends people to go do what he wants them to do. Yah commands his servants, his warriors, to go do what he needs to do. He commands the hornets and the bees. He commands the seas. He commands the wind. He commands the stars, the moon, the sun. Yah is in control. So when he talks about, I'm going to do this, he's sending. Okay. If he talks about, I'm going to bring a message to you, he'll send someone to do that. A Malak of Yahweh will show up and they ask him, who are you? He said, why would you want to know my name? It's too wonderful for you. And then he would jump in a fire and leave. The Malak of Yahweh is the one who showed up and talked to Moshe out of the fire. You see, it's not Yah himself. It's who Yah would send. Okay. So he sends and he says, I'm going to send him and he's going to destroy these individuals. He's going to he's going to put an end to them. This is important for us to understand. You said, well, they're already gone. We're talking about us right now. So what does this mean? Yah has given the Imri, the Kiti, the Perizi, the Ka'anini, the Kiwi, and the Yavusi as examples. That's what these people are. They're examples to us. Okay. I want you to hear me carefully. You ask yourself, well, why is Yah sharing this story? The story wasn't written, okay, for their sake. They didn't get a pamphlet that told everything that you and I are reading. The people that he wrote this to, they didn't get this. They didn't get a written copy handed to them and told them this is what it is and these are the people. He didn't do that. He told them out of his mouth what it was going to be. You understand? So when we look at the Torah, we need to look at it with some different lenses, okay? The lens is this. Yah has mentioned the Imri, the Kiti, the Perizi, the Ka'anini, and the Yavusi, and those individuals and everybody he has to destroy to give us an example about what I will do to you if you worship their gods or you worship any gods. I'm using them for you as an example of what happens to the people that worship other gods. That's why it's written. If you notice in our Torah portions, he's been saying, whatever I intended to do to them, I forgot exactly what verse. I don't know if anybody remembers, but he says, whatever I intended to do to them, I'll do to you. Do you remember when he said that in your Torah portion? Whatever I intended to do to them, I will do to you. You see? And I will destroy you like I destroyed them. So they're the example. Okay. So what we know is that the Kiwi, the Kiti, Imri, Parisi, the Ka'anini, the Kiwi, and Yuvusi, we know that those individuals right there, the Yah says you need to destroy them because they're idol worshiper. They're idol worshiping. I don't want you to have anything to do with these people. And I'm going to show you what happens to those who do these things. He said, you are not to follow, listen, to worship their gods, serve them, or follow their practices. Rather, you are to demolish them completely, smash their standing stones to pieces. So what is Yah's intention? What is he telling us? He's telling us that you and I are not supposed to do these things, but he's also letting us know that anybody who worships any other god is going to be destroyed. Anybody that worships any other god is going to be destroyed. That's why he's giving this example. This is why it's written. For you and I to know, but also to understand the places that you and I are at. Do you think he destroyed these people because of their idol worship and their gods? Why did he destroy Egypt? Tell me. And who did he destroy in Egypt? Who did he destroy in Egypt?
He destroyed the Egyptians and Pharaoh.
And their gods. He said he went to battle against their gods. Remember, the gods are the ones who make the people treat other people a certain way. You see? So he's letting us know ahead of time that I'm going to get to everybody that worships other gods. And what I'm trying to let you know is I chose you to be my special people, and you are supposed to serve me and me alone. If you serve any other god, you're just like the rest of these people that I said that I'll have to destroy you. You see? Now listen what he says here. We're in Exodus chapter number 23. He said, you are to serve Yahweh, your Elohim. That's who you're supposed to serve. Okay. And he will bless your food and water. Very important. What do you mean bless our food and your water? You mean you can have food that's blessed and you can also have water that's blessed? Yeah. Your water can be blessed. Is your water blessed right now?
No.
Why? Because your water ain't blessed. Because listen, he said, I'll take sickness away from you. So there's consequences because of our actions and behavior that you and I have been exposed to water that's contaminated with lead in it. Isn't that what's going on in Flint, Michigan? They still haven't cleaned the water pipes. Ain't been on the news. So I guess it doesn't exist any longer, right? Okay.
No, it exists. They're just not talking about
They ain't
it.
talking about it. All right. So he says, in your land, that's what I told you earlier. It's about being in land. Women will not miscarry or be barren. And he's also mentioned that no men will be sterile. Okay. You will live out the full span of your lives. So you have a span, and depending on where you live and depending on what you're eating, and it depends on what you're drinking, which would determine how long you live. So when Yah says, I'm going to bring my judgment upon you, and Yah uses his food and water and living conditions to bring about the judgments that he wanted to bring. When he said, I'm going to bring vengeance on you and I'm going to kill you, you know, it's not just with the sword. The sword is death. The sword means as an enemy. So the sword for Yah could be anything. You know, it could be bringing your enemies upon you. It could be your food. It could be disease. It could be anything. You understand? He's using the term sword to let you know that it's on, that you now become my enemy. So I'm going to destroy you. Okay. And then what got me, what he said in 27, I will send terror ahead of me, or the terror of me ahead of you, excuse me. The terror that he's sending you guys is a sound. There's a certain sound, according to Hebrew, that says there's a sound, a ear-piercing, ear-splitting sound that makes people go into confusion and start tripping out and killing each other. Okay. He says, listen, I'm going to do that. I'm going to send that sound in there. So I only send in the hornets, but also too, I'm going to send a sound ahead of you, a sound of terror. And I'm going to put these people into confusion, and they whom you will come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs on you. So who's really winning this battle? Who's really doing it? Who's really the strength of Yisrael? Yahweh is, you guys. He's the one who fights for us. Okay? So we can't be looking to anyone else for our help. That's why he's sharing his story with us in our day. It's because he wants us to know that you don't have any strength outside of me. None. Okay? Then, of course, he mentions to us again to confirm what he said in Deuteronomy chapter number 7, Davarim, that I will send hornets. I'm sending everything. I'll send terror, the sound of terror. I'm going to send the hornets, okay, to drive them out. But he says, I will not drive them out in you in 1 year, because if I do, then the animals are going to outgrow you. So everything has to be based on timing. We can pick from that. The Yah has everything in a certain time and in a certain manner. Everything is calculated with the Creator. Everything. Even the day in which he chooses for us to be brought back out of our land of exile and be brought back to our land. Even the day of salvation for us, for him to deliver us from our enemies, is based upon a day it's been already calculated. It's already been weighed. It's already been balanced. It doesn't mean that you and I can't cry out to him, because I actually read something just the other day, about 2 days ago, that said that you haven't called on me. You guys have not called upon me. And we'll talk a little bit more about that on Yom Kamishi. You haven't called on me. Okay, let's finish this out. He said, I'm going to gradually get rid of them until you grow in your numbers, and then you can take possession of the land. So there's no magic pill here. Okay, so you guys got to have children, have babies, and then you guys are going to outgrow and number, and then you'll take possession of the complete land that I have for you, because the designation for the land goes all the way from the land, the river in Egypt, all the way to the Euphrates. So you and I should know that that land that they call Israel right now is not the land. That's not the land grant. Okay, it extends far past that. Okay, and he said, oh, wow, look at that. Look at that. I didn't even get a chance to finish it. Look at this. I will set your boundaries from the Sea of Suf, the Sea of the Philistine, from the desert to the Euphrates River. And I will hand the inhabitants of the land over to you, and you will drive them out before you. You are not to make a covenant with them or with their gods. They are not to live in your land. Otherwise, they will make you sin against me by ensnaring you to serve their gods. So as you see, everything is about this relationship that you and I have with him. And it's always about another God. Okay? And so this is remarkable that you and I are beginning to understand this. Okay? I sent you to a place where you're going to serve their gods of wood and stone. Now I'm going to see, instead of the first time I asked you to get rid of your gods, you wouldn't do it when you were in Egypt. Now I'm going to see you to all the places I've sent you. And when you get there, I'm going to ask you again. Because the first time I asked you, you didn't get rid of it. So let's see what you're going to do now. Let's see if you get rid of those gods, because you got them all around you. I'm going to put you in the same type of circumstances, situation that you were in the first time in Egypt. I'm going to put you in slavery. I'm going to have you oppressed. I'm going to have them kill you. I'm going to have them work you to death. You're going to take away all your rights. You will be nothing. You're in a house of slaves. You're in a house. You think because they named this place a place of freedom, you think that you're free? You ain't free. You're a captive. Don't you understand? So I'm going to give you the same type of circumstance, Israel. I'm going to put you in the same type of position, Israel. And I'm going to come to you just like I did your ancestors while they're in Egypt. And I'm going to reveal my name to you. And guess who I'm going to tell? Guess who's going to tell you my name? The same one that told you my name before. It's right there. It's in Exodus, Shemot, chapter number 3, verse number 15. I'm going to tell you my name. When you get there, going to ask me. Just for your record, so you'll know, like, oh, he's not making this up. He's not. Yah has done exactly the same thing he's done to our ancestors. That's what I'm saying. The same thing he did to them is the same thing he's doing us, right? He said this. Moshe said, Elohim, look, verse number 13. When I appear before the people of Israel, and I say to them, the Elohim of your ancestors has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What am I to tell them? Elohim said to Moshe, Eye asher eye. That means I will be what I will be. Okay. And he added, meaning, and by the way, that's not his name. That's the verb of his name. It's a verb. That means his action. This is a verb, by the way. So when you get these people out here who says his name is Eye asher eye, and you go look at it in the Hebrew, it's a verb, people, and it's not a personal pronoun. Okay, it's not his name. Okay, this is a verb. These are verbs here. Eye asher eye is a verb. Every time I bring somebody there, I shut them down. They don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, and then he added, "Here is what you to say to the people of Israel. Eye has sent me to you." Elohim said further to Moshe, say this to the people of Israel. Yohewah has the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and the Elohim of Yaakov has sent me to you. This is my Shemka. This is my name. For what? Forever. This is how I am to be remembered generation after generation. So when they tell you as an Ashkenazi, you can't mention his name and it's too sacred, that's a lie. Yah's name is mentioned over 6,828 times. He wants his name to be remembered. He said the prophets have decided to get you off of my name. If you forget about Yahweh's name, then you'll forget about him. And you'll forget about what he's done for our ancestors. And you'll forget that he's the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So when you call him God, okay, and you think you're talking about him, you're not. His name is Yohewah. That's his name. And it's his name forever. You understand? So Moshe is the one who's letting you and I know what his name is, because that's the name that needed to be revealed. You didn't get the brochure in the mail. You had to go to the Torah to find out what his name was. Jesus Christos never mentioned his name. Did Paul ever mention his name? He was so close. He had a vision with God. Did he ever mention Yahweh's name?
No.
Never. Did any disciple ever mention Yahweh's name?
No.
No. Anybody? Nobody. It had to be somebody. The tent maker didn't do it. The fishermen didn't do it. The other crybabies didn't do it. None of them did it. Nobody did it. Not one person did it at all. John the Baptist didn't do it. Nobody did it. Why not? If y'all wanted, he said, this is my name forevermore, for generation and generation. And this is the name for me to be remembered by. Why wasn't it mentioned? Anytime you get in an argument with anybody, do what I do. Shut them down. How many times is his name mentioned in the New Testament? Zippo, 0. And ask him why. Well, because just the essence of his person, he wanted, that's a lie. That's a lie. Okay. So I'm glad that you're coming to class. I want you to understand that even in our study, you got to watch these English people, because they're going to lie. They're going to tell you that he will. Yah has always loved us. He has an eternal love for us. Yah is forever merciful to us, and Yah is always gracious to us. Even when we don't deserve it, he still loves us. He still thinks about us. You can read it right there in Hosea. He says, I think about Ephraim all the time. We're not out of Yah's mind. We're never going to be out of his mind. As long as there's the stars in the heavens, and the sun and the moon and the stars, and the Kokim and the laws that govern the day and the night, Yah says that Yisrael will always be my people. Always. If you can get rid of those, they will no longer be my people. Those are eternal signs that we're his people. And we need to be thankful about that. We need to be happy about that. You see, but it comes back to his name. Don't forget his name, and don't call him by a name that's not his. Don't call them God because you're calling them Theos. That's what you're calling them. You understand? You could call them Yahweh my Elohim. You could call them Adonai. You'd be safer calling them Adonai, meaning my master Adoni. Call him my master. Call him something, but don't you call him by that name God. That's a Greek term for Greek people, for a Greek God, for a Greek culture. And you know the Greeks, what they're into. They're into homosexuality. They're into pornography. They're into all those things. They're into incest. They're filthy. You understand? Look, you thought they created the gymnasium? Guess what? It was nothing but all naked people running around. Wrestling naked, fighting naked. Everybody was naked. Have you ever tripped off that? You ever trip off all the statutes? Everybody don't got no clothes on. You ever trip off that? It's about nudity and uncovering themselves and making people feel okay with it. You and I are people who are set apart. We need to have our clothes on. We need to cover ourselves. We need to have dignity. Our women need to be very noble. Okay? Cover yourself. See? Men, cover yourself. You don't need to be walking around with no muscle shirt on. For what? You got muscles? Great. Do some construction. Look good. I'm not saying don't look good, but don't be Eddie Long. You know what Eddie Long looked like with his muscle shirt on. Tripping. Okay. That's your class tonight. Any questions? Any contributions?
I wanted to state something. You were speaking about earlier sterilization.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this book, Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. It talks about the dark history of medical experimentation on our people from colonial times to the present. And it is a very good book from beginning to where I am now. I haven't finished reading it. I only read a bit at a time. And every time I pick it up and start reading it, I get angry because of the way they did our people. I mean, especially during slavery, when they didn't have the opportunity to say, yeah, I want to participate, or no, they were just used. And they did surgical experimentation on them, and they wouldn't use it on the white people until they had perfected it on our people, and often without anesthesia.
Yeah.
They even stole the bodies of our people and use them as cadavers to send to these schools like not John Hopkins, the various schools so they could study with them. I mean, they did us like I said, it angers me every time I read it.
Yeah, I was angered when I saw that article. I was very angry and hurt. And I said, Yah has used this as an example. And he says, I'm going to show you and everyone else that don't worship another God. That's what happened to us, you guys, is a result of us worshiping other gods. Every pain that you've experienced has been because of our worshiping another God. Because we've denied the existence of the only God, the only living Elohim. Forgive me, Yahweh. The only living Elohim. He's not God. He's an Elohim. He's Yahweh. We got to get that vernacular, that G-O-D out your mouth, because you and I are serving a living Elohim of power who created everything. And he's telling you and I, if you go against me, you deny the existence of me by the way that you live your life. I chose you to be the representatives of me on the earth to tell people that there's only one Elohim. If you deny that by the way that you live, you deny that I exist. And if you deny my existence, I'm going to deny your existence. What did he do? He took our name away from us. What did he take? He took our culture. He took our language. He took everything away from us. All of our wealth that he gave us, he took away from us because we denied his existence. And we said that something was real, then it's not. We gave claim and adoration and love and emotion to something that doesn't exist. And that's deep when you think about it. You're giving your emotion over to something that doesn't exist. You're calling out to a God who can't save. You're giving credit to an Elohim or it's their God that doesn't really exist. Do you know how gone that is mentally? And then the world is supposed to know about our Elohim. And they don't know because of what we've done. You see, that's what we've done. We brought this upon ourselves. And he's telling us what it is so you and I can make some adjustments and change, because to be frank with you, I know that Yah is choosing to use different things for judgment. And one of the things that he's using is drying up all these different places. He's using water. That's what he's using as a judgment. Pay attention to the news. That's what Yah's using. That's the big one. That's the big one right there. And that can either be of not having enough or too much. That's one of Yah's weapons. You understand? So we have to understand these things. And we're going to have to